Welcome, everybody, to an all-new episode of Figure It Out, the show where we combine our love for all things figures and our love for pretty much everything else. This episode is going to be a very, very, very fun one, and one that I'm pretty sure I will stress everybody out about. Let me introduce the panel before we get started. Starting off with Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up, everybody? Salud. Happy Tuesday.
Absolutely. What's going on, Jaydee?
What up, Streamland? How's everybody doing out there?
Yeah, Jaydee, before we started recording, let me know he will definitely forget about me when he's rich and famous. So that was, that's always good to know.
Who's this on the show with me tonight?
Yeah, who's that Juwaan guy? I don't know who that is. And last but not least, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What is going on, guys?
All right, so let's kick this off. I want to start off with we were talking about it a little bit beforehand. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has made it known Lobo is a guy he would love to portray. Never really thought about Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Lobo. Just never have. Just never once crossed my mind. Because I think the reason why it never really crossed my mind was we saw how bad Woody Harrelson looks with hair. Jeffrey Dean Morgan with like the long dreads is just something that it's gonna take a long time for me to just like work that image into my head. It obviously can be done. It's done all.
But does it have to be dreads? Could it be a mullet? Think of it.
You know what?
Not a mullet.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I don't know.
He's an '80s guy that came into prominence. Excuse me, Lobo is an '80s guy that came into prominence in the '90s. And what was the hairstyle for all white guys in the '90s? The mullet.
Flip skin fade. Oh,
you know what?
Right.
You know what, Jaydee?
The rat tail.
You know what? I'll say this, Jaydee. If Krypton had not have used Lobo, and that look just looked so good.
It was good.
I think I wouldn't have been as I wouldn't have been as like, I wouldn't have needed the dread look. But now that I've seen that it works. And I know we won't get that we won't get that anymore. I don't think Krypton will ever be back. Now I'm
but the
like,
dread look, brother, the dread look on Lobo didn't come out until the New 52 weekly series came out for DC. Lobo had been a dormant property for quite a while. When Lobo was at his height, it was Keith Giffen doing the exaggerated look for it. It was Brian Boland doing his pieces for it. And it was the shock hairstyle. You know what I mean? It was a metalhead. So if he could pull off a metal look, I'm cool with it. Jeffrey Dean Morgan has the hamminess. We know he plays to the camera without playing to the camera as he's done in Walking Dead, right? And if nothing, Lobo was breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool, Gwenpool, Pool, and who else Pool?
I missed that.
Yeah,
pool.
Man.
I got to read that Pool.
Right? Definitely metalhead. And he has that gruff, uncle, surly attitude down to a T. That's Jeffrey Dean Morgan in a nutshell. So that's how I see Lobo. He is your anti-Fantastic Four thing. He's your favorite uncle, but he's that drunk uncle that was part of a metal metal band that was still a biker and hanging out at a bar most nights.
Yeah, you know what it is like. Again, I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan can do it. It's never about do I think he can handle the acting or the presence. I think he could definitely do it. And since unfortunately we will never see him as the Thomas Wayne from Flashpoint like he wants to do, why not let him be Lobo? So to me, I'm completely fine with it. But in Joel, I'm going to go to you. It always pops in my head. You know how you always say, Joel, like hairstyles is something that every time they do an interpretation, they, for some strange reason, feel the need to change it. And it's one of those things where it's like, if the character is a blonde, they'll make him a brunette. And it's like, why? So I think the thing with Lobo to me is the only Lobo that I know is with the look. And now that I've seen the look can work, I kind of would like to see it again, but again, it's not how like you, Joel, how you view Gambit, to where it's like if he ain't got that Cajun accent, Joel's setting the
Out the door. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's not,
100%. Yeah.
right. It's not an essential to Lobo. Like his hair isn't what makes Lobo, but it is a very unique look that I would like to see. But Joel, your thoughts on Jeffrey Dean Morgan liking the idea of playing Lobo?
well, I like it too because that was one of my fan casts for him for a long time. Considering I figured he wouldn't get a chance to be Thomas Wayne Batman. I'm like, where else can I put him? And I thought Lobo would be a good spot. I don't know if he's as big as I normally would want a Lobo, but the guy that did it on TV wasn't very big either, and he pulled it off very fine. So, if he can do it, then Jeffrey can definitely do it and pack on whatever pounds. He got pretty big for like the comedian, and I'm not really worried about the hair because it just looks long hair or dreaded hair. I mean, long dreaded hair. I mean, regardless, it's gonna be long hair, right? So. It's doable, and it definitely could be done practical, as you saw on the show, because they nailed it. So I'm like, if they give us something even close to that in a movie, we finally get him on that bike and like, hell yeah, I definitely want to see a live action Lobo, and then I think the world is ready for it.
Yeah, and it starts a good feel because once you get Lobo on the bike, and I'm not saying it competition wise. But it's then Marvel, you're on the clock to give us a goddamn Ghost Rider. You got to respond with another guy on the bike. So to me, it's one of those things where it's like,
Reedus.
Pete, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think Ghost Rider might be the only character that I'm a large fan of that I really just don't have, like, any name someone says. I think I'm just okay with it. Like, he's the one character, and I fan cast literally fucking everything. I don't know. I'm always just okay with, like, someone was just telling me they hated Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, and I'm like, I don't see it. I love the first one. I really did. The second one should have never been made, but I really did like the first one.
I like the second one better than I like the first one.
I did too.
Wow.
I did too, Jaydee.
Wow.
Who the fuck are you guys?
Wow.
Really? You like the first one?
I didn't like any of them.
It is. I'm going to be 100% honest. I'm going to be 100% honest, Jaydee. Erratic Nicolas Cage always appeals to me. There was a certain level of craziness that he brought to Johnny Cage that I really like. In that one scene, Johnny Blaze, sorry, where he first transformed, and you see him like peeling like the flesh.
That was cool. Credit where it's due.
I really love this. Yeah, I'm like, I really love this. So
I did like the desert scene when he meets up with what's his name? I can't think of the old cowboy's name, the actor, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Not Chris Christopher.
The Marlboro Man, for God's sakes.
I know who you're talking about.
The scene when they're running through the desert.
Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott, thank you. Couldn't come up with it. Thank you. I love that scene. That was great. I did like the flesh peeling scene because it was one of those, like, you never consider, like, it might just hurt to get skeletalized every goddamn time.
Right.
But, like, I half agree with you, Juwaan, when it comes to that. Like, to me, I see Norman Reedus from Walking Dead on the bike, and that just screams Johnny Blaze to me. But Johnny was not my Ghost Rider. Dan Ketch was. So when it comes to Ketch, I'll accept, like, almost anybody. As long as he kind of looks the part and you give me those villains, Blackout and Zodiac and I forget the other guy. But that was my Ghost Rider. So, but if I need Johnny Blaze, I really want to see Norman. Plus, I want him in a comic book movie.
Go ahead, Jaydee.
No, I was gonna say the other guy was the head guy. He was the Lex Luthor, and we don't remember what his fucking name was. We remember Zodiac and the second Blackout, who was like a saber-toothed wannabe.
Death Watch. Was it Death Watch?
Death Watch. Yes.
That just came like running, like it was late to the party. I'm here.
I just, they could have saved so much money by not giving us skeleton fingers, by putting gloves, real leather gloves on his hands, which would have worked. It would have made him look beefier, and you could have saved that money to give us a better special effect on the head or whatever, because it just, it hurt me. But I felt the part. If I had to choose between 1 and 2, I think 2 was a better flick. It was a little bit darker. First one, it just 16-year-old / 47-year-old Nicolas Cage didn't work for me. Where you played off against Eva Mendes, who was the same character, but between 21 and 22, she was two different actresses. Really weird. And then the black guy, the bad guy, Blackheart, with the demon elementals, just didn't do it for me.
No, I
He
get
should
it.
have had a bag floating behind him.
They didn't do Blackheart justice at all.
I will always say, I think to me, because I think people use worst superhero movie ever. I think they use that a lot, and I have the same problem with that I do when people always say, "Oh, this is the greatest movie ever." "Oh, this is the greatest movie ever." It takes the flair out of movies that actually do fit the parameters of that. So to me, I always remind people, like, we had a Jonah Hex movie.
Yes.
That is some of the worst shit ever.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, do I think Ghost Rider was worse than Jonah Hex? No.
No, I
Seal?
saw that one.
No.
Yeah, I did too.
So that's all I'm saying. So that's when people are like, it's the worst thing ever. I'm like,
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. with David Hasselhoff.
That was bad.
Go deeper to the original Doctor Strange movie. How about that?
Oh
The
man, I never
70s
even
porn,
seen that.
Basically, porn
Yeah.
one.
you know what?
Get
You know what?
through it.
I'm gonna say this. I always tell Joel
So
when I
boring.
think of worst superhero movies ever, I put a certain movie high that I found out later in life. A lot of people enjoy it. And I'm like, I wish I would have known you earlier in life. I hated that at first Incredible Hulk. I thought Eric Bana was awesome.
Well,
I thought Nick Nolte was awesome. I thought everything else about him jumping from Mexico back to San Francisco was like some of the stupidest shit ever. Like there was a lot I hated about that movie. I think the only thing that I can say I enjoyed was his fight against the dogs. That was pretty.
That was right out of the comics too.
I enjoyed
cool.
that.
I like the desert scene too.
Yeah, throwing the tank was cool.
Yeah, that was dope. I didn't like
when
that.
he got hit on his own junk. Lifts on his
Yes.
Yes, but see, you guys don't remember the Red Brown Captain America, or the Mark Singer Captain America, where Red Skull was Italian.
I do remember that, but I still liked that movie because it was Captain America. It was a Captain America movie. It was like, holy hell, we got a Captain America movie
with the plastic ears. You don't
Yeah.
remember the Dolph Lundgren Punisher?
Awesome flick. All he needed was the skull.
No skull, yeah, that's stupid.
No,
too.
I mean, there's so many. See, okay, so as the elder statesman of this group, right? I was stuck watching and having to defend what we now know and love for a lot more years. You guys, not Pete, but Juwaan especially. You came into the glory days, man. Even when you were younger, the Fantastic Four cartoons that came out, that second season of Fantastic Four is some of the greatest storytelling. That second season of Fantastic Four, I'm putting up there almost with Justice League Unlimited.
Oh, that's tough.
It
was good, but
great storytelling. They pulled directly from the Jack Kirby era of Fantastic Four. There was a year-long narrative on that, so there was the A story, and there was that continued B story. You got guest spots from Thor, Richard Grieco, who was a motorcycle guy, as Ghost Rider. You guys don't know who Richard Grieco is.
I know Richard Grieco.
Richard Grieco, yeah, I know that name.
He was the guy that came
21 Jump Street?
Right after
the second, the later version.
Yes, after Johnny Depp left.
Right.
Whatchamacallit. So him as that. You had John Rhys Davies, who was he was the troll in Lord of the Rings, but he was also Sala from Indiana Jones.
Yes.
The voice of Thor. And you want a nice bombastic voice for Thor, that worked on it. You got the Skrulls in a way that I don't want to say rivaled that season of Avengers that Juwaan likes, with Civil War, but you got Skrulls as a real threat in that second season. First season, not so much. And in darker colors, they start off with the Inhumans, stuff like that. But go back to Lobo for a second. I think the best interpretation of Lobo wasn't that season of Krypton. It was
Really?
Brad Garrett in Justice League Unlimited.
Oh yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. I think more
Live
so what I was
action.
trying to say, JD, was first of all, when I heard Krypton was going to be on Sci-Fi, I was just like, well, I won't watch this. And I remember starting it, and I was just like, oh wow, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then in the second season, the budget enhanced because Lobo looked amazing, and Doomsday looked even better.
Yeah.
Brainiac looked amazing. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm
Getting
like,
better, right?
what they're building is really special here. So when they canceled it, I was just like, damn. And then you had the rumors of Lobo getting his own show, and then they scrapped that. And then Sci-Fi went on a whole scrap fest of scrapping all their good shows, to make it 19 more fucking Sharknadoes. But anyway,
right. Well, that made the money. And
I really
excuse me,
don't- I
one
can't
more thing.
people.
The dread look of Lobo
Mhm.
was kind of a rip off of Rob Zombie.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because when he showed up in that New 52 weekly series for DC, he was sporting the dreads, but he was sporting that same curled cowboy style hat that Rob Zombie was sporting at that
It's
time.
funny because every time you mention New 52, I laugh, JD, because me and Joel argue about this all the time. I tell him,
I'm sorry, it wasn't New 52.
It
New
wasn't.
52.
Okay,
The series was called 52. I
okay,
apologize.
I got you.
No, yeah, no.
I was
New
about to
52
say-
he looked completely different.
It was Backstreet Boy Lobo.
Right.
Yeah, that was
he
stupid.
was.
Yeah, he
I
was bad.
I
It
was
was
about
bad.
to say, I always argue with Joel about how much I hate the New 52, and then he reminds me of all the storylines that I love are from the New 52.
Oh yeah.
And I always say to myself, yeah, no, that's true.
But Lobo.
That is true. That is
Yeah,
true.
Lobo was bad in that, but they really changed that rebirth and stuff.
All right, so we all agree, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, sign
Yeah,
us
I'm
up.
with it.
Sign
I've
us
down.
liked him since Supernatural, and I'm with it.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
me too.
I
up.
liked it since P.S. I Love You when he made me cry.
Oh,
I love you. Did I remember?
Yeah, I don't think
You
I
didn't
saw
see
that.
Come on. Oh my god. All right, so this is the sap in me, right?
Huh?
So I had to watch it for the missus, and it was with oh my god, 300. What's his name?
Gerard Butler.
Gerard
Where he
Butler.
was married to a female Karate Kid, and
Okay.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank, and he was dying, and
I already can't watch this movie.
oh, dude, it was a beautiful love story, and he knew he was dying from cancer, and he set up her life to take a nice vacation, a tour back to his country to learn more about him in Ireland or Scotland. Ireland or Scotland, I forgot what it was. And she ended up meeting Jeffrey Dean Morgan along the way.
Yeah, I know this movie.
Oh, you see, it's a
My
true
mom,
gesture.
all my mom watches is rom-coms, so
Oh,
Dude, I think that's another
Sure.
show. I think we should do like our favorite rom-com / chick flicks because we all got them. We all got them. Those couple that we just like we don't admit to be.
No,
no, I openly admit it. If you think
Juwaan has some
if
bitch
you
ass shit.
think I don't got some goddamn rom-coms in my holster, you got another damn thing.
See, but I got rom-com tearjerkers. Like, dude, what dreams may come.
Oh man, that's hurtful though.
It's hurtful,
Jesus.
but you know what? It's based on the love of one man for his wife and wanting to go through the depths of hell and being guided through his kids that passed away. And
Right.
I'm sorry, but Annabella Sciarra was she was one of my childhood crushes. I'd go through hell for her.
Love Actually, one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yes.
Love it.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you think Pretty Woman's not being brought up, you got another thing coming.
Absolutely.
Another guy.
But put that in the notch list. Like, all right, we're gonna do favorite rom-coms.
All right, we're going to do some rom-coms. I got you.
I'm with it.
See, everyone that listens to the show is like, oh, these guys would never. Yeah, we're going to talk rom-coms, and we're going to have to talk rom-coms.
All right. So I got so rom-com is one show. I have another show, and it's a Stump You show.
Ooh.
And it's where each one of us comes up with a different way to stump the rest of the crew. But we're taking movies that we know, and we're only describing the movies by the main actors and the superhero roles that they have played. So, for argument's sake, I would say Batman versus Wolverine fighting over Black Widow.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I understand where you're going.
And the
with this.
movie would be
Prestige.
Prestige.
Mhm.
Right.
And the only reason I know that is because you've described it in that way before.
As that.
Yeah.
So can we just have one episode? Can we stump the other's knowledge? Can we go 6 degrees of separation to find out who is the link between all of them?
I like it. It's a good
I'm gonna
old
lose at this. I'm bad at this, by the way. Just so we all know.
It's a good old whodunit. I like it.
Is there like a penalty for getting it wrong? Like you have to do a shot or something?
No, because then the show's not gonna. Nobody's gonna.
If only you knew how horrible my memory was. I'd be drunk in the first 10 minutes.
For everyone else, if they lose, they don't do a shot. For you, if you get the answer right,
then I get to do a shot.
Yes, because
all right, that's my inspiration.
It's his reward. Okay, I like it. All right, let's move on to our next topic. The Venom trailer dropped today. Andy Serkis was the director for it. Is the director for it? So I said was, like he just got swapped out. He is the director for this new Venom movie, Let There Be Carnage. I'm gonna say right now, I walked out of the first one going, didn't hate it. It hit certain marks for me. Like seeing She-Venom was something I never thought I'd ever see. So it was just like, wow, they did that. And in this trailer, it looks like it's going to hit on certain comic book marks that might make me go, you know what? Never thought they'd do that. I like it. Okay. But again, I'll never enjoy a world built by Spider-Man with no Spider-Man. So taking it purely for what it is, not basing it off of what we'd like it to be. The trailer was, okay, all right, cool, I think definitely what saved that trailer was revealing Carnage at the end, because I think nothing else really of that trailer was strong. I think it spent too much time reminding you of all the things you didn't like from the first movie. Like, hey, remember that script that wasn't that strong? Yeah, I do. Remember all that humor? I do. It just kept.
I like the humor in that movie.
Okay. I don't have a strong enough argument to argue it.
I agree with Joel. I think the buddy comedy, like the buddy cop comedy aspect of it, saved it.
Yeah, I agree. I made it more entertaining.
Hearing Eddie and the symbiote arguing back and forth.
Yeah,
because the symbiote's in his head.
To be fair, though, Jaydee, Pete and Joel are right, but that's, well, let me not say only, but I think it's mainly because of how lackluster that script was.
Yeah.
It was literally the only thing it had to offer. Was like Eddie telling the symbiote, like, hey, we don't eat people. And he's like, oh, really? It's like, yes, don't eat people. Like that. Stuff like that was definitely hilarious.
Can I eat him?
I mean, they just repeated that in the beginning of the second trailer. It's like, I will eat Mrs. Chen. No, you can't eat Mrs. Chen.
Yeah.
So that was good. Pete, I'm gonna go to you. One, did you notice the Stan Lee cameo?
I did not, as a matter of fact.
There is a Stan Lee cameo, and it's he's on a magazine.
Okay.
Okay.
Venom is actually straightening the magazine as Eddie walks into the store. It's and we know in the first one he was the dog walker,
right?
That Eddie ran into,
right?
So it's really dope to see that he managed to make his way on.
I'm glad to see that.
Magazine.
I missed that. I did pick up something else that I'm going to bring up in a moment, but yeah, I do like the buddy comedy thing of. Because, I mean, what would it be like to live with an alien entity that's in your head the whole time? It's not just we are Venom. There is a we there. So there should be two personalities. So that was I guess, intriguing to see in the first one. That said, I thought the script for the first one was pure garbage. One of the things I strongly disliked was that the symbiotes, and I will never say symbiote. I'd like to punch everyone in the face that says that. But the symbiotes' names were whatever it was, Riot and Venom, and that's a problem to me.
Green.
So you're going to tell me that on their home planet, like if I look at your driver's license, it says Venom and not Like,
Mhm.
why do you have a fucking English ass name? That's stupid. But
Yeah.
I'm not here to gripe about the first one. As far as this one goes, I'm a little nervous that I'm glad they did it, but I'm also nervous that they showed Carnage immediately because that's that seems to be something that you wait until like trailer 2 or 3 for. So it kind of makes me think that they don't have a lot of faith in this movie themselves.
I don't know. I don't know if you hold on that. I don't know if you hold on that. Because here's the thing. If you don't show Carnage, here's the thing. We've already seen what
Venom can do, right?
Well, what Venom can do, what Venom looks like, his whole story, and we've also seen Cassidy. So it's like if we didn't see Cassidy at the end, and then this was like show, then it's like okay, yeah, you can build to that. But the fact of we've seen everything already. So if you didn't show it, it would have been like, well, this seems like part 1, but like your deleted scenes. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like you had to sell something.
And speaking of Cassidy, I'm so glad they ditched that curly hair wig or whatever that they dressed Woody Harrelson in. I'm totally fine with Cletus having like a buzz cut of red hair. I'm good with that shit. It looks like they're like he's being experimented on, like maybe they're or that somebody he's about to get a lethal injection for the death penalty, and it looks like it gets switched to the Carnage symbiote or something.
No, it looks like all right. So what I put together was I think he writes Eddie a letter.
Nope. Okay.
He writes Eddie a letter, and I think he got blood on the letter. And when Eddie receives it, the symbiote kind of gets on it, and then I guess whenever he visits him again, I assume it latches on at some point. Because when you look closely, it's the Carnage blood pushing the lethal injection back. So it's pushing.
Okay, I gotta watch it again.
And then you see him kind of start to transform, and then he kind of like explodes through the.
Wasn't it his egg?
It was like a rain droplet that was left when Eddie broke out of prison. But that's in the comics. Eddie wasn't in prison in the movie.
Right.
So who the hell knows how they're gonna arrange it? But
this doesn't work for me, guys. I'm sorry.
I agree with you. That's without Spider-Man. Juwan's right. This is really hard to do.
Right.
But did anybody notice? There's a particular scene where in the background, it looks like there's a newspaper that mentions the Avengers.
Yeah, the Daily Bugle.
Yeah,
it's Avengers. It looks like it says Avengers lose to Nightmare, which makes me wonder what. Like, are they referring to Thanos as a nightmare, or are they referring to Nightmare?
Here's where it's super confusing. Andy just came out and said how it's its own thing. You know how kind of like how James Gunn.
But they can't say like, oh yeah, it's involved. Like
I completely get you. I completely get you. But let's look at it from the lens of if he is telling the truth. Kind of like how James Gunn said, Suicide Squad is self-contained. It's not necessarily something you'll see bridging anything, right? So where Andy already is misguided is when you look at the newspaper that officer is reading. It says Daily Bugle, and it's the same logo design that you see on the bus in Morbius, where it says, "Where is Spider-Man?" So clearly, those two connect, and there is a Spider-Man. I think the point Andy was making was they don't know of a Spider-Man that exists yet. So I don't know if they're going to try to rectify that maybe this was well before. I don't know what they're going to do.
You're going down speculation train, bro.
No. I was just about to say, part of me does kind of feel like they did that on purpose. And it might be scavengers, not Avengers. So to me, I kind of feel like if you're trying to hide it, you don't put that in there. Because then it's just like, well, it's right there. It's Avengers. Like, you're literally showing it to me. So part of me is just like, it could be them just toying with us. Maybe it actually says scavengers.
Okay.
Because the front of the newspaper is all about Cassidy's murder spree.
Right.
So I'm like, it could have something to do with that. Passengers, something nightmare. Could be passengers was the word. So I did originally with Joel yesterday immediately go, oh my God, that should set Avengers. And then I slept on it. I was just like, maybe it doesn't. Like I've got my hopes up too much, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe it just doesn't.
I'm pretty sure, at least in my opinion, I think that world is gonna very much play out like the Netflix world was, where Sony will acknowledge that some of that stuff exists around them, but then like Marvel side will probably never ever acknowledge them. You know what I mean? It's just seems like how it's gonna play out. At least for now, it seems like how it's gonna go.
I mean,
but
Joel, we'll have to see, because seeing Vulture in Morbius was a huge shock to us.
But until I see Morbius in a Marvel movie, you get what I'm saying?
I do.
It does only say ENGERS, so yeah, there's a lot of ways they can go with that. You're right.
A lot of ways. So that's why I'm like, it's possible it could be
right until I see them in the MCU version.
Right. But I mean, look, Vulture showing up in the Morbius show, like, to me, does like that's a big surprise.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, like, that's why I think they exist within that world in some capacity. It's just I'm not sure how much they're gonna like mesh. I mean, aside from like the Spider-Man character.
Hopefully we get a cameo at the end of this one. I'll be real happy if that happens.
I'd like that. Yeah, I'd like that.
Or we can get something that ties into it from Far From Home.
Anything. I'll take it. Whatever. A good writer can spin it to where I'll like it. That's all I need.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jaydee.
No. I think Disney shot themselves in the foot by giving Sony the formula. And they may never get those franchises back now, because they're building it up to be strong enough to exist on their own, where there could be a possibility if the next renegotiation of contracts goes south, you know, that stuff gets pulled and we never get a unified Marvel.
You say that, and albeit you are not in the present wrong. What's wrong with that long term is that we've seen what Sony looks like with no Marvel, and it was something that they couldn't sustain. So I'm like, you could say, all right, you know what, we got the formula, you know, and then we're gonna ditch you, and then you could create your own Spider-Man movie. Like, think about this: they have the formula, and we're still talking about how we thought that was a weak script for Venom, and how this looks like it could possibly also be another weak script. So they've shown that they clearly don't grasp the formula.
Right.
They have it, but they don't grasp it fully.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when they give me a great movie of these characters in the Spider-Man universe that isn't in the Spider-Verse, then I can say, you know what? Goddamn, Feige, you got to figure something out. They're getting good now. But for right now, it's very much still the little kid trying to shoot over his dad, and he's blocking everything at the rim. Like, everything is being...
Kevin Feige's just going to, like, snap one day and kidnap the children of all the Sony executives and be like, well, if you want your kids back, you can sell us Spider-Man.
Yeah, sell us Spider-Man. You can get everybody back.
We at Pete's Basement and Geek Vibes Nation do not advocate the kidnapping and ransom of children. Just saying it's a possibility.
We're just saying sometimes sacrifices need to be had for the better.
Exactly. So sometimes things need to be taken to extreme, because that's the only language people understand.
Yeah.
I'm just so picturing a knock on our door from the cops tomorrow. So one Sony exec's son has been heard from. It's like,
he's missing. Do you know how we find Pete DeLuca?
You meant their kids. I thought you meant, like, you know, like a metaphor for, like, you know, we'll keep your PlayStation or some shit.
No. You know what, Jaydee? Yes, that's exactly what
That's clearly what I meant.
That is clearly what
I was referring to their Sour Patch Kids. That like, we're stealing their candy. We're stealing their candy, like taking candy from a baby. That's what I meant.
That's what we meant. As we subtly hide the duct tape. Anyway. So, Pete, did you want to add anything else from this Let There Be Carnage trailer?
I just that, like, I'm probably gonna bitch about it continually for the next several months. And am I gonna see it? Yeah, I'm still gonna see it. Am I gonna like it? I don't know. I watched the first one. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it either. So that's kind of where I'm going into this one. Like, if I go in with low expectations, hopefully nobody hands me a pickaxe. Like, just so I can dig lower. That's it.
Like I said, I remember looking over to Joel in the first one where the shuttle had crashed, and they had said that the pilot was Jameson's son, and I was just like, oh, you guys are you're hitting some of these accurate marks for me. I'm like, bravo. So like I said, if this movie hits some of those marks for me, to me, that's a win. It honestly is, because at the end of the day, we're going into this going, this story does look a little iffy. So to me, just hit the mark, and to me, you have to show, and that's the thing, and I'm gonna pass it to you, Joel. That's the thing that I'm curious to see how Andy Serkis differentiates. We see Venom kill, right? And obviously they don't show it. Like, you see him go to eat somebody, and
Right.
they're obviously, and I'm not here trying to say I need that. I'm making a point. So you see him go to eat somebody, but they don't show it, right? So I'm like, now that Carnage exists, you have to differentiate how he kills and how that's supposed to be drastically worse than how Venom kills. So I am curious how Andy will show the difference on how the two kill, because you can't just have Carnage go to eat someone like how Venom does, because then it's like, wait, isn't he supposed to be like an extreme version of that? Like, so I am curious. And again, I'm not saying I need to see heads being chopped off, but you do need to show the extremely violent side of Carnage. So I am curious on how Andy Serkis goes about that. But Joel, your thoughts on this trailer?
I watched it. I didn't hate it. I just felt like I needed to see more. Like, I saw basically what I saw from the first movie, except with Carnage in it, which is awesome. But at the same time, I didn't see enough Carnage, and I didn't see. I just didn't see enough to really get a good grasp of what we're gonna get in the second movie. If it's anything like the first movie, I mean, I probably won't hate it again, which is fine. And I'll probably be entertained by the banter between Venom and Brock, and hopefully I'll like the chemistry between him and Carnage and Cletus Cassidy, and because that's really important too. So, like, as long as that's fine, I'll still probably enjoy the movie. And I would love for them to find a way to get a spider on that man's chest, but I'm not sure how that's ever going to work until they do. I do enjoy the fact that he has white veins. That's pretty interesting. That's cool. At least they're giving him something there, so it's not just this black abyss and on his body, this big black blob. But again, I enjoyed the first movie too, so it's like, if they give me something just slightly better, I'll be fine.
Yeah, again, that's really all I asked for. But Jaydee, you've seen it.
Yeah.
Did anything in that trailer catch you at all? Like, catch your interest at all?
Nothing in that trailer caught my interest. I'm not going to say that I will never see the movie, because I just sat through an entire first season of Jupiter's Legacy, and I didn't like that. But when it comes to, Venom, when we tie it into our show, there's no action figure line to this.
Yeah.
Right? There's none of the characters pop off of the screen and saying, hey, we can make a figure off of this. Be it, 6 different versions of they would do with Batman, give us 6 different versions of Venom. Or like with the Spawn movie, give us iconic scenes. I don't know if you guys remember, there were 4 iconic scenes that tied into the Spawn movie. But other than those, the statues, or I don't see anything tying in that you can market the Venom movie in another way that brings playability out of it. It's PG-13, but it's not a kid's flick. Like Joel said, to not have the white spider on the chest, that's like having Superman without the shield, the S on his chest.
Yeah.
You need that. That's his iconography.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, and it also speaks to what me and Joel were talking about yesterday. It also kind of gives me a feel, and I know Venom is an anti-hero, but the main reason why I don't like what Sony's doing with their universe is you're really kind of making all these villains like good guys, essentially.
Yes.
And it's like,
they are.
It kind of makes it feel like, well, there's no room for Spider-Man to interact with these guys, because they're not, like, there's no issue between the two. It would be Spider-Man teaming up with Venom. Yeah, could they bump heads? Sure, but it's not like I'm here to kill you, because ultimately Venom didn't come from Spider-Man like we know him to. So it's just like, okay, yeah, let's achieve a goal and move on. And it's like,
Venom was a troll.
I don't want that.
He went after Spider-Man. He went after Mary Jane. He went after Aunt May and stuff like that. And that was part of his personality. And we're not getting that.
Yep. So that's why I'm kind of like, why would I want that?
Right.
So
Mhm.
you know,
I'm gonna get a refill. I'll be right back, guys.
absolutely.
You
You
got
do a
it.
Raven movie, you know, all these characters that are supposed to be villains, and it's like, I'm cheering for them. How are you gonna then turn and make it like, oh, now they want to fight each other? No, it's messy. It's messy. But all right, so we're gonna head into our next topic. I want to talk because I really enjoyed this one. Comic books you'd love to see adapted. I want to start off with that. I'm gonna go ahead and start off. I want this. I want it.
Very
I want it.
specific.
I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. This is such a good read, and I know a lot of people were iffy on the movie. But I can tell you the movie is nothing like this comic book. And I can tell you right now, first of all, here's how you know the movie was nothing like the comic. If anyone's played the game is nothing like the movie. The fact that Wesley Gibson does not don the suit is a travesty, is a huge travesty. But Mark Miller did such a good job on this run. This definitely deserves to be a series, not a movie. Should not be a movie again, because clearly we saw what happens when you make it a movie. You know, you're appealing to a wider audience rather than sticking to what the comic is. But so I definitely want Wanted. But another one is, damn, I just dropped the book. Is Thick of Thieves. Thick of Thieves.
Oh.
Are you familiar with this, Pete?
I read a little bit of it. I remember reading like the first couple of issues, and then I kind of fell off, unfortunately.
Yeah, this has so many twists and turns just in this one issue, just in this one volume. This is such a fun read. Skybound, it's from Skybound. I really enjoy these two books, and I would love to see them brought to life. And like I said, Wanted, I desperately want, because I want him in the suit, man. I really do. I know a lot of people, because they're not familiar with it, don't care. But like just seeing stuff like this is super dope. Like, I love the look of what Wesley should look like, the attitude Wesley should have. And they have a lot of really interesting characters. Like, they have actual bad guys. I know to a lot of people, they're like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, they have actual bad guys in these Wanted comics. So that's what I want to see be adapted, because I would just have such a good time with it. Jupiter's Legacy is, Jaydee was just saying, I did enjoy it, but I'm not.
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, you haven't watched it yet? Okay.
No.
I'm not going to say anything. But I'm not familiar with the comic book. But to me, watching this, I was definitely glad they decided to make it episodic and not a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just certain stuff just shouldn't be a movie. But Joel, is there any comics that hasn't been adapted that you would like to see adapted?
To live action, yeah. I mean, a lot of them have been adapted already, and are probably being adapted at the moment. But I think one that I don't know if will ever be adapted that I'd really like was Savage Dragon. Like,
yeah,
I would love to see that, but I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, that would. To me, let me ask you, why don't you think that would happen? I'm curious. Why don't you
creator
think Dragon?
I just don't, the creator himself doesn't seem very thing about it, you know. So if he did a cartoon. I remember the cartoon from when I was growing up. That was okay, but I don't know. He doesn't seem gung ho about doing a movie, and I think that might stifle it. But no, yeah, we haven't seen it yet, right? You think about considering everything else, we might, but I hope so. Hopefully, one day we do get a Savage Dragon. He's a cool character.
Jaydee, we open this next topic with comic books we'd like to see adapted.
Yeah.
Joel just Savage Dragon.
I like Savage Dragon. Big fan of Eric Larson. Going back
Right.
to the Marvel, Eric Larson hated drawing. Excuse me. Going back to the Marvel. Going back to the Venom. Eric Larson hated drawing Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Larson was the one that gave him the big gaping grin and had the tongue coming out. That was just something McFarlane did at all. So Eric Larson had a big part to play with Venom. But I respect the guy for doing, 300 plus issues of Savage Dragon. I
Respect.
liked the cartoon, even though it was very tongue in cheek, very under my age group at the time. I respect him for killing off his main character and letting his son take over. That's not something we see in most superhero comics at all. I like his weird, funky, cheesy, corny gimmick villain style. But I don't think that lends to a live action movie. I don't. You got a lot of exaggerated body parts in there. Savage Dragon should not be able to stand on his own 2 feet, and I do not have faith in them bringing that fin on his head to live screen properly. Yeah. What I would like to see, which I think can be easily translatable to live action, would be Matt Wagner's Mage. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that.
It's like Excalibur was a bat, and he had like a lightning bolt in the chest.
Exactly. It was the average Joe. Funny enough, it was a New Jersey guy, so you guys should be psyched on that. And they reinterpreted the Excalibur mythology for today.
Is that Shazam's logo on his chest?
No, basically. That is Mage logo.
He has a goatee. He looks like an average guy.
Because that bolt goes straight down, whereas Shazam and Black Adam come across. Right. And in a weird way, that was also an inspiration for my book here, Shield of the Interceptor, right? Because it showed me you can reinterpret Arthurian mythology without actually using King Arthur or, a replacement for the sword Excalibur.
I like it. I like it. Before we go to Pete to close out the topic, Jaydee, I went with Wanted, and I went with Thief of Thieves.
Didn't we got Wanted already?
No. When you read the actual book, the movie is nothing like what the actual.
Oh, I know. Yeah. So
I want the actual.
We're not going to get curved bullets, but we can't get Wanted because the only reason Wanted worked is because everyone understood the mythology of all of the other universes, right? Marvel and DC mythologies were wrapped up. Is today's viewer a little bit more up to date with archetypes? Yes, but I mean, come on, his father wore the exact Spider-Man boots. Yeah, are you gonna have somebody, some Black Ops guy, assassin dude, run around with all this Black Ops tech gear and Spider-Man's booties?
100%. Yes. Yes. I want a series of Wanted. I don't want a movie. I want a series of it. And I want Wesley Gibson in the gosh darn suit. That's what I want.
You want Eminem? You want Eminem?
Yes. Wait. Jaydee, hold on, because you missed it. Hold on. I got it right here for you. Hold on. Right there, Jaydee. Right there, baby.
Yeah.
Right there is the real Shady. Right?
Yeah. I was Eminem. And then you had what's her name that inspired Catwoman, Halle Berry as Fox.
Yep. I want it. I desperately need it. And what's crazy is, Jaydee, everything you're saying, it's so funny because right after the movie came out, they released the game for it, right? Even the game puts him in the goddamn suit.
Really?
And I was like, why didn't it just translate? Like, that would have been so dope at the end if he suited up in that suit. Even if he doesn't have the mask on, I can live with that. But the suit, man, I need it.
And then, hey, you gotta give Wanted the movie credit for using a loom as a trope for predicting the future.
That is true. I did like how they played that. It had a lot of twists and turns that I really did enjoy. But ultimately, it was just like, it never really felt like what I read. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you watch DC for all it's good or bad, Marvel for all it's good or bad, it's never the idea of it not feeling like what you read, once it never felt like that. And that's why as soon as I played I remember playing the game with my dad. I'm just like, wait a minute, what? This isn't even.
Let me ask. I'm sorry. Was that Mark Miller?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go. Mark Miller's stuff really doesn't translate well to the big screen. Kick-Ass.
I think they.
Jupiter's
you
Legacy.
know what? Hold on. I'm not giving you that. That first Kick-Ass to me is classic. They did a really, and I think what saved that movie more so than anything was the casting of who? Nicolas Cage.
Not Nicolas Cage. Chloe Grace Moretz.
Really?
She saved that movie as Hit Girl.
No, I'm sorry. Nicolas Cage as like your Adam West Batman was
brother,
legit genius.
Seeing a little 10-year-old blonde white girl.
No, that was dope. I give you that. That was dope. That was dope. But I'm sorry.
I want that as a child.
And talk about tearing up. Talk about tearing up. That scene where he's in the chair and he's literally burning right in front of her, and you know she barely can do anything about it. That movie was really well done. It was really, really, really well done. I do enjoy it. I really do enjoy. I go back to it.
Okay.
I go back to it.
All right. Well, yeah, and then Kingsman 2 was shit, but Kingsman 1, okay, even though it didn't take much from the book, I really like Kingsman 1.
Yeah.
But Mark Miller's stuff really is
I mean, Jaydee, I'll even say this, and Pete, I'm gonna go to you. I'll even say this, Jaydee. I've made this argument before. I really do think that is the best comic book fight scene I've ever seen in my life.
Which one?
The one where they're in the church.
Yes.
I don't think I've ever seen anything. Yeah. It was so fluid. Yes. It was so fluid. I don't think I've seen anything better. Like Winter Soldier used to be like my number one. Batman's warehouse scene was somewhere worked in there. But that Kingsman scene, that was fluid shit, man. That was I loved it.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I got you 100% on that. That was like, and then come on, who Sam Jackson, stealing Russell Simmons for the whole movie?
Yes, I mean, yes.
Come on, man, down to the list.
That lisp was iconic. That was iconic. That was really good.
If anybody didn't see Russell Simmons and Def Jam being what took over the world, I was like, oh my God.
I am with you. I've never heard anyone say it like that, but when you say it, it's like that is spot on. That's exactly.
Nobody noticed that? Don't tell me nobody.
Never heard. So I've never heard anyone break it down like that. But it's genius because that's exactly what it was. But I've never heard anyone break it down like that.
100%. That was Russell Simmons. Yeah. Thank you very much, everybody. You know what I mean? No, not the blood. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know what I mean? Who's the guy with the big beard? That's the only thing that they should have thrown in there. What's his name? His partner, the Jewish dude with the big beard. They became a Buddhist.
I'm blanking. Even putting Mark Hamill in the beginning was super goddamn.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love Mark Hamill?
You can sell it every time throwing in Mark Hamill.
It was independent from the book. It was based on a book. But whatever. Mark Miller stuff doesn't translate well in my opinion.
I'm not gonna let you throw dirt on Mark's name. Absolutely not. I love Mark. But Pete, what comic book you want to see brought to life?
I wish I would have brought these out actually, but I had a couple choices. Mm-hmm. For just superhero stuff, something that I know will never happen, but my personal favoriteest of favorite stories in Marvel was Atlantis Attacks. That I credit to being the reason that I'm a comic book collector. That was the first series back when events were just annuals every summer. And that was the first thing that I ever went out and sought and actively tried to find, going through back issue bins and stuff. And this is before the days of eBay. So, you had to do it old school style at conventions or go to comic book stores. And this had the denizens of Atlantis trying to bring back this dark god set. And they gathered the 7 brides. They stole like Storm and Jean Grey and She-Hulk and all of these other different women. And they were going to be brides for this 7-headed Hydra dragon thing. And I am not a huge Thor fan, but if anybody is a Thor fan, man, the Thunder God shines in the penultimate chapter of this book, of this series. He whoops the shit out of this dark god. And I'm not telling you how. Go read the story. If anything, forget the whole damn story. Fast forward to Thor Annual. I want to say it's number 10. And holy shit, did they delve into like Norse mythology and stuff like that. It's dope. It's so freaking good. Definitely, like I said, you don't even got to read the whole damn thing. Just read that annual. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That one, one of Donny Cates' first books, how I discovered him, he teamed up with this guy, Elliot Rahal, to do the Paybacks. And if anybody's read this, it's hilarious. It was originally published by, I want to say Dark Horse, I think, maybe, or something like that. And then it went to Heavy Metal, or it was Heavy Metal first. I don't know. The first series was on one publisher, and then it went to a second publisher. But basically, the Paybacks are superhero repo men, where if you've got all of these fancy tech gadgets and shit, and then you can't afford them, well, they come and take your shit back, and now you have to work off your debt for this one guy who sends his paybacks after other, like, if you think about all of the high-tech villains, like Stiltman, Beetle, or, you know, anybody like that that's running around in Iron Man style armor but don't got Iron Man style money.
Right.
He sends these people after, like, hey, you were supposed to pay us back, so now we have your stuff and you work for us. The shining moment was a Batman ripoff called The Night Knight, Night, Knight. And he had a horse called Nightmare, obviously. And at one point, he knows that the paybacks are coming to get him. Okay. So he unlatches like the bridle from the horse and says, you know, like, go, like, I don't want them to get you. And inexplicably, the horse turns around and says, I'll never forget you. And then runs away. Like, what the fuck? It's a talking horse. It's like, you had no idea this was even happening. It's so outlandish. It's insane. It's hilarious, and damn it, it would make a fucking good movie.
I like it,
dude. It's so worth your time. This is when I really like people give Donny Cates a lot of shit now because they say he's like, oh, he's overrated and he's writing too many things. Read this and then tell me if like he doesn't dig a little spot in your heart, like where you'll like, I'm gonna read anything else he does.
Did they ever make it a trade? Was it a miniseries?
I want to say it's a trade. It's 4 issues, 2 series, so it's 8 issues total. But there's got to be trades out there. But bar none, speaking of hilarious books, I believe this was Image Comics, Shirtless Bear Fighter. If you have, oh my God.
Yes.
If you've never read this, please do. It is probably one of the most hilarious things I've read since Johnny the Homicidal Maniac. The guy just runs around naked through the woods fighting bears. And that's and like he's like a government spook. Like they call on him when they absolutely have no other choice and they must call him. And like half the joke is like, would you please put pants on? Because they actually like digitize out, they blur out his fucking junk. And the line of blur is always humongous. It's like down to his knee, for God's sakes.
Don't make me jealous.
It's so funny. It's like 5 issues long, and God, I hope they do another series. It's so fucking funny. Please read it.
I love it. All right, make sure you guys check all these books out, and we would love to see these come to life. That specifically, Pete, belongs on like a Hulu or something where it could just be everything that it's supposed to be. Make sure.
And I'm just thinking like clever ways of like they don't blur it out, but they just hide it behind things. Like
right, like a lamp shows up randomly.
Yeah, like
Austin Powers.
Like Austin Powers. Thank you.
Yes.
No, we definitely need to see that come.
Awesome.
All right. Before we get into our next topic, let's take a quick toy break, talk a little bit of toys. I showed you guys, Pete has something to show. I know he does, so do I. I showed you guys in the group chat, Hasbro just announced they're doing the 2-pack Endgame of Stark with numerous heads, with Thanos with numerous heads. Thanos also has the tech glove on from Stark. Can't remember what they actually called it. Stark Gauntlet, I guess. That looks amazing. the detail to that is really good. Even one of the Thanos heads has the dust where he starts to disappear.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool.
I thought that was really dope. And also, bravo to Hasbro. When you zoom in on Stark's face, that looks just like Robert Downey Jr.
Nice.
And I have to say that because there are not oftentimes the figures do look like their movie counterparts. So that is a bravo to them for sure. Also, they're releasing an Odin figure. Has, different heads also. The crown head, obviously without the crown. I'm really surprised we haven't really gotten an Odin figure till now.
We never did. This is our first one.
No, we technically got it with with the movie, the first movie.
There was an Odin Builder figure at one point, wasn't there?
Really?
I believe there was an Odin Builder figure, and then besides the MCU, McFarlane did an Odin figure years ago.
Yes, when he did like Gods and Monsters or whatever it was. Yes, I remember that. Or Mythology, it was called. It was one of those. I do remember that series.
I have recently picked up what I'm calling the Miami Vice 2-pack, and that is of Wade Wilson himself with Hit Monkey.
Oh my God.
I have never been more in love than I am with the accessories that it comes with. So clearly you guys can see Wade, full suit.
That white suit is amazing.
Right? That's what I said. And Hit Monkey comes with headphones that are removable. For some strange reason, Deadpool comes with a Captain America shield with his logo on it. You obviously have your two katanas right there. Also, Hit Monkey comes with two handguns right there. Adorable.
Can't wait for that.
He also has his two machine guns. And then this is where it gets hilarious, right? So Deadpool, for reasons I don't know, comes with a fucking guitar. He comes with a guitar. He comes with an RC with an exploding head on it that's removable.
Nice.
And then he comes with two changeable heads. So one is with the mask up a little bit.
Right.
One is the full-on mask.
Okay.
Cool.
And then last but not least, can't be Miami Vice without the most Miami you could possibly ask for. So I love this 2-pack. I even freaking made it my background. You can't even really see it. It's too bright. I really enjoy this. The accessories are great. The look of them all are great. And what's even dope is the RC head. Like, you can remove it, and then you can put the other heads on the RC if you want.
That's cool.
So that's pretty dope. But Pete, you also got something to show off. What you got, Pete?
I did the Disney Store exclusive. My Falcon figure came way quicker than I expected it to.
Very nice.
And I haven't actually taken it out of the box yet because I really just like the box and everything looks so damn cool in here, and I don't really have room on the shelf yet where it can be appreciated. So I'm going to just leave it in, and eventually I'm going to do an unboxing. But man, it looks really great. The white of the suit pops very well. As you were saying, like some figures tend not to look like their celebrity or acting counterpart, but I gotta say the likeness to Anthony Mackie does look really good.
Nice.
The wings look really nice. I cannot wait to get those out of there and hooked onto him. He also comes with a silver version of Red Wing. He's got 4 different hands, and the shield looks really cool too. And it actually looks like
removable head.
Not from the look of it, no. There does not seem to be another head where like an unmasked version or anything. But yes, very, very thrilled about this. And I was surprised to find that, it didn't sell out right away on the Disney Store. But then all of a sudden, like within a week, it was gone and on eBay for like $80 to $100.
Yes, and I will say, when Pete speaks, people should listen because Pete for damn sure immediately was like, Juwaan, order it now.
Go get this.
And I was just like, no, because I remember telling you I was going to get all the other figures that build the wings. And then one day I was just like, nah, I don't want to risk it. Like, I'll just go get it. When I tell you I couldn't find that shit anywhere.
I wish I would have bought 7. I would totally just pop it on eBay for buy it. What I bought it for. Like, start the bidding there, folks. You guys go ahead.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put in it, some ridiculous buy it now on it, but like whatever the bidding goes to, it's more money than I had to start with. But I also finally got part of my Entertainment Earth order in. Finally got a hold of Zartan.
Zartan?
Oh,
Yes,
Nice.
really terrible light here, but
wait, time out. Is that the face that comes in the little case that
yes,
you put it in?
yes.
Oh, I want that so bad. Oh my god.
I'm still waiting on Flint and Lady J.
Yeah.
So whenever they get here, I will let you guys know.
There's a guy out there 3D printing. This is for Juwaan. The original G.I. Joe Jeep called the Vamp for this style of figures.
Really?
Really?
Yes. So you want a vehicle. He's out there 3D printing it on the G.I. Joe boards.
We're going to talk.
How much is he? Do we know what he's charging for that?
I don't remember because I've given up on the line. So I have no interest in picking it up. I would like to add a new segment to the series, please. I will title it after I reveal what I will be revealing. And here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Right?
Nah.
You guys know what this is?
Yeah.
You know what this is?
Who that is?
Right? This is a classic fail right now. So as I am moving my Marvel Legends original Build-A-Figure, he fell and he broke. And he broke right at the pin. I cannot reattach this motherfucker's leg at all. So this is a classic toy fail. So one of our, I don't want to say a recent piece, but a prime piece, has now become a classic piece. And you got to start taking care of your stuff, guys. Or at least I have to. Because we're coming to that point where they might not survive into the fucking future.
I do want to add, Jaydee.
Figure fail.
I do want to add really quickly because for people who aren't familiar with the figure world, to somebody they're just like, oh, okay, it broke. Let me let you guys know. If there's one thing on planet Earth that is expensive, it's a fucking Galactus. That is not something that you'll find super cheap somewhere.
Nope.
Because you got to remember, Galactus isn't made in 3.75 or in 6-inch. It's only made how you just saw how Jaydee has it. It's
that first one,
enormous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, so to everyone who's just like, oh, just get it. It's expensive, people. It's not.
And it's,
I'm gonna stop at Walmart and go get another one.
It's not like I can pay for the premium of just getting the leg because that pin is off here.
Is in there.
And it's in there.
Yeah. Gotta set a. You know what you could do actually is get a small drill into it if you can. If you can drill into the pin in the leg.
Because his skirt won't let you get into the pin
shit.
at a proper angle, dude.
See, this is why I told you, Jaydee, I prefer for stuff like that and capes to be
cloth
fabric.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, fabric.
Yeah. So I'm kind of pissed off because I like him over the one that came for the Marvel 3.75 figures.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't like that Galactus at all.
Well, you talking about the one that came with Silver Surfer?
Yeah. I prefer this guy over it. I felt it had better articulation than the other one. He was more stiff than anything else. I didn't like the head. This has more of a man. I don't want to say a manly frame, but a defined frame, whereas the other one was more bulkier, blockier. But I'm going.
And also, Jaydee, another thing to add is because it's not a mainstream popular character, it's also a figure they don't make a whole bunch of.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
Galactus. They just don't.
No. You know what always upset me? Not always upset me, excuse me. What bothered me, Jack's Pacific was doing the 4 foot tall, that 3 foot tall plastic figure for a while that was showing up a lot in Toys R Us. And you got the John Cena, you got the Batman, you got different Star Wars characters and stuff like that. Right. You guys couldn't do a Galactus in that size? I got no problem taking them in that weird soft PVC plastic that's made of, and that limited articulation, because at that size, it would have been easier for him to hold something in his hands and stay at that point.
Right.
You know, I would have loved for it, but this guy, I'm gonna try my best to salvage him, but
You think you can
I'm
glue
hurt.
it in there? I mean, you'll lose the articulation, but
yeah. Well, you know, look, from the other leg, it's not like the guy could have sat in a chair or anything like that. You know,
Right.
this is the extent of how far he's gonna go.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but and then you know you got you got the toe, the ankle articulation, you got the calf articulation, and the double knee joint. So even if the other leg is stiff, I can make up for it with this leg that's here and balance it out. But just, oh man,
I'll even.
I cried.
I'll
I had a
Aw.
silent.
I completely understand that.
I'll even
Okay.
say, Jaydee, how they make the durability of figures now isn't even as great as it used to be, because when you remove this head, it's very difficult to get the other one on, and then it's the fear of
Really?
snapping that ball.
Peg, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like they gotta find better, because to me it's like, if you can't find a better way to put different heads on, just only have it come with the one
Don't
head.
do it right.
Yeah, that's it. It's that simple. I'm fine with that. I would have been fine if it was only the Deadpool mask. So you know, the articulation a lot. Now I wanted to ask you this before we move into our main topics. Have you guys seen the large Sentinel figure that comes with Wolverine?
Yeah, the Marvel.
The super huge one. That's yeah.
You guys
It comes with a lot of other characters too.
You think
Yeah.
that's worth getting?
Fuck yeah, it was.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this right now. That's a sideshow piece, or it's
No, it's the
What's-
Marvel crowdfunding piece, the Hasbro.
Oh, that one. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I thought you
Yeah,
I
that
thought you were
too.
referring to the statue series with
No,
like the Sentinels moving and there's all like the X-Men around them. I'm sorry, wrong one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
This
one.
is like-
Yes, even
right.
still, yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
For this
Kim,
reason and this alone,
What's up?
I did not jump on the Unicron figure. I should have. It was like $700, and at the time I was like, wow, I really can't justify this. But even if you decide you don't want it anymore or whatever, you can turn around and sell that on eBay for stupid money. Like Unicron right now is commanding double what people paid for it. I wish I would have just invested and bought like 5 of them. I should have, because the sales are ridiculous.
And what makes selling figures so awesome is that, again, the Sentinel is just like Galactus.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just making them every year, every
Right.
2 years, every 3 years.
Right.
It legit is specific to whatever line is that it came out with, and then it's really honestly never really revisited. And we've seen from the MCU, they don't do the greatest job with developing toys. Honestly, outside of the 6-inch figures. So to me, it was one of those things where it's like, I see it's affordable. I'm still trying to justify doing it.
How much is it right now?
It's $450.
Yeah, I think it went for 3 something now originally.
Yeah. So
and it came with different heads
before it hikes up.
I think
I would say do it.
maybe 3 heads, right?
Say it again?
It came with 2 or maybe 3 different heads.
Let me see, because I think this one is just the one body. That's it, and then comes with Wolverine.
No, and then it came with Bastion, and then it came with a female style of Bastion. Also,
What? Wow.
yeah, the Hasbro Pulse one, dude. There
That's
was a lot of things unlocked for him.
Let me see.
I would say get it, Juwaan, because even if all of a sudden you decide, this was kind of a waste, I don't really want it, I don't have the room for it, whatever, I can all but guarantee you can get your money back selling it.
Yeah.
Or
I'm
more.
looking at it right now, Pete and Jaydee, and no heads. It's a 6-inch. It's a 6-inch one, and it's just Wolverine with interchangeable hands and a handgun. I'm sending it to you now. Hold on.
No way, dude.
I'm putting it.
Wolverine with a handgun?
The
Yeah, I
Hasbro
don't-
Pulse
It's
one?
so redundant, Joel.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
I see what you're talking about.
I just sent it to you guys. Yeah,
Oh, that's the old one.
yeah.
Days of Future Past.
No, sir. Look up the
this
Hasbro
one.
Pulse. Right. No, don't get. No, if you're going to spend $450 in that, look up the Hasbro Pulse crowdfunded Sentinel.
That's the one I thought you were talking about. That thing's like 3 feet tall.
Okay, let me see.
And I would say before you go spending money like that on Amazon, look on eBay. Believe it or not, eBay is better for like collectible stuff like that. Amazon's sales are always exponentially high.
Oh my God, I see which one you're talking. Oh, this one.
There you go.
Holy! Oh my God, it's huge.
Yes, sir.
Oh, by the way, I have no idea who this character is, but I picked her up also.
Who?
That was Omega, right? Omega 13? No.
Yeah.
Omega.
No, not Omega.
She has a
like
different
Star
head,
Wars,
right? She was a Sri Lankan, I believe, character.
Yeah. I saw her and I liked it with the interchangeable heads and arms that could change in the weapons.
She was the female Sentinel that became a mutant or something like that.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So we always have to make sure we work some toys up in here.
Oh yeah.
So we had to make sure we did that.
I do want to say one thing though, because I just decided to take a look since Jay, you had brought up Galactus, and one of the things that I regret not buying, Juwaan, which is why I was encouraging you to get the Sentinel. But I did think you meant the Hasbro crowdfunded one, which is why I mentioned Unicron. Do y'all remember when Sideshow had that Galactus maquette with the Silver Surfer, and it was like 26 or so, 30 inches tall?
Yes.
I should have bought that when it was $700 because you can't touch that figure for under like $4 or $5 grand. Yep. The same thing with Dr. Doom on the throne. All Sideshow statues get ridiculously priced. Get them, keep them for like 2 or 3 years, and then sell them. I promise you. That Dr. Doom on the throne is my white whale, bro. I could have bought that shit 5 times over, and I didn't. And now you can't look at it for under $5 grand. And it's so crazy. Dr. Doom. That's like
I will say, Pete, once I really got into figures, it like you ever see like a woman go crazy over buying purses and you're like, I don't fucking get it. It's like once you get into figures, you're just like, I get it. I get it. I understand it.
Sideshow is releasing a new Galactus maquette that I just found on they have a pre-order up on BBTS. So there's probably one on Sideshow as well. And Jay, it's pricey, but if you're a big Galactus fan, it looks fucking dope.
I do have to say, Jaydee, the Terminator you sent in the group chat, I looked at it so fast, I swear it looked like Ewan McGregor a little bit.
Oh, well, so that's medical grade silicone on his face.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's a $3,000 piece. If you look all the way in the bottom, it's from the actual studios. That is the artist proof, 1 of 800. So every other model that had been made off of that was made from that. It is a 1-to-1 bust of Arnold. My brother-in-law picked it up at New York Comic Con 2 years ago.
I remember when you sent us those pictures.
Yes, flew over. Right. Remember, the guy flew over from Japan with the piece, and my brother was like, "Well, this is not going home. This is not going back to Japan. It's staying here in the States." So they're driving home from New York Comic Con, and my sister is sitting in the back seat of her car while he's driving home with the Terminator in the front seat. So that's my nephew in the other picture in front of it, just to show you how big it is. And he's always like, "Can we go over to your house so I can see the monster with the metal face?" So he is big on making these deals for statues at New York Comic Con. That's why he can't wait for this to come around. He picked up a not Sideshow, but he picked up I think 1/3 of Sagat.
PVC, the PVC collectibles, yeah.
Yes, sir. He picked up 2 of them. Okay, so it was going on pre-order for like maybe $1,800 or something like that, right? If you paid cash, there was a payment plan. So he goes to them, "How much if I pay it off now?" They're like, "Okay, so we'll not charge you anything extra, and we'll give you 2 of the food dogs because you paid it off right off the bat." He goes, "Okay, great." He goes, "What if I buy 2 of them?" So here this guy goes. He buys 2 of them. They give him a 20% discount on both combined, and they gave him 4 food dogs. When Sagat arrived, he sold off one for almost $4,000. He spent less than $3 for both of them.
Make the hobby pay for itself.
Yeah,
that's
man.
how you do it.
That's it.
Exactly.
It's like investing in stocks, man. Just have the stones to throw the money out.
Yeah.
If you got it, throw it out there. It will come back to you. It will.
And that company that you mentioned, I forgot the name of it. They allow you to transfer the receipts.
Ooh. So like like a warranty or anything like that goes to the next person.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so that hasn't arrived to you. You change the receipt in their system to the new person that bought it, and when it gets shipped out, the
goes right to
transferred to that person.
That's great.
So people were selling the receipts for a premium before they even got the figure. They were making the statue. They were making $200 or $300 on it.
Wow. I mean, I decided to take a quick look at eBay the other day because sometimes, especially after we're done talking about like cartoons and toys and stuff, I decided let me look and see what like Dungeons and Dragons stuff is out there. I actually wound up buying some Dungeons and Dragons Viewmaster reels for like $30. That was pretty great. But the Iron Studio statues, and now these were maybe anywhere between $80 and $110 for the set, and they all combined together. And then there's the Venger one in the background I still have in the box. And then there's the PVC or PCS rather. I'm sorry, PVC. PCS collectibles Venger that looks exactly like the cartoon, and he's like got the magic, coming out and the big wings and stuff. I did the unboxing of that on the Pete's Basement channel. That alone is like $2,000, and the Dungeons and Dragons set is like $2,500 with all of them together. But I'm never selling mine because I love them. But that's the thing. Like, this is when I always say to myself after the fact, should have bought more than one.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's definitely a lifestyle that people think like, oh, you spend all this money and it's like for what? But it's like no one ever understands that unlike a purse that you wear numerous times,
or sneakers,
right? Or sneakers. This is something that has extremely high resale value.
If it's still intact when you come to sell it.
Right.
Bro, I'll bet you can still sell that.
I was just about to say, there's somebody that's like, you know what? I can fix that.
Yeah, guaranteed.
100%.
All right, let's move on. Let's go into favorite underrated movie. And I'll kick it off. I actually watched it again for the 1,000,000th time yesterday.
I hope you don't say mine.
You know what? No, because now you got me nervous.
I'm
positive
you don't got mine.
Okay.
I'm positive you don't got mine.
I swear, if this is yours, I'm quitting this show. No, it's one of my most favorite underrated movies. Is not talked about enough. Dear favorite of mine, and it is Lucky Number 11.
God damn it, you got my... No, I'm joking.
I was about to say, all right, end show. We're done for the night.
Damn good.
That was good.
That was good. 11 it has a great cast. Lucy Liu, Josh Hartnett, Morgan Freeman, Ben Kingsley, Bruce Willis. And that's a prime Bruce Willis. That's not the I say yes to any role today Bruce Willis.
I don't know. That was the last of his prime.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That was, No. Time out. Because I think Looper came after that. After that. So Looper was still prime Bruce Willis. Right.
Okay.
And then after that is when he was just like, yeah, I'll do G.I. Joe Retaliation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do Surrogates. Yeah, I'll do this. Yeah, I'll do that.
I did like Surrogates. I
actually like Death Wish. I didn't think I would.
Oh,
yeah, okay, I'm with you on Death Wish. It doesn't feel like classic Bruce Willis, but
it's not.
It's not.
Right.
It's not bad Bruce Willis.
Okay. So but as far as like remakes go, I went in with very low expectations because Jay, Charles Bronson.
Yeah,
you can't get around that. That's a crazy ass movie.
I'm with you on that.
This was decent.
You know what, Pete? I respect your feeling of that because I swear I grew up on Pierce Brosnan as my James Bond, right?
Same, actually.
So
give me that. I like Pierce. I like Pierce as James.
Yeah.
So it was like when they did Daniel Craig, and here's the thing. I remember the director of Casino Royale said they wanted to go away from the tropes of all the other James. It's why he in that movie only he does not say shaken, not stirred.
Right,
He
right.
doesn't do the typical tropes of
Right. He
James
does
Bond.
parkour in the beginning
Right,
of
that's
the flick.
parkour. Right.
They went like Jason Bourne instead, and
Yes.
I don't like that.
Let me say this. I will say that wasn't the worst swerve you could have. They obviously retconned it with all the other ones that came after it. You saw him with the spy cars and stuff like that. So they went back to it. But it was one of those feels that I went into it, Pete, just going, you'll never be Pierce. You'll never do it.
I'm gonna tell you
something. I like
Daniel's really good. Daniel's really good.
I like Daniel Craig. His James Bond is very different for me. I like the campiness instead of the straight up super spy Jason Bourne stuff. But I'm gonna tell you right now, as a perfectly heterosexual man, I do not find Daniel Craig to be an attractive man. Pierce Brosnan, on the other hand, is a good-looking dude, and I can believe that this dude can just about beg any woman in a hotel, in a restaurant, in a room. Daniel Craig, not so much.
And I will say, Pete, and again, I think it goes to the original director for Casino Royale. It just seemed like they wanted to go. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Nolan's take on Batman. He wanted to go so far away from what the actual character is supposed to be that you outsmarted yourself. Like you thought too deeply and you went in the wrong way. You going with the scruffy, rough-looking James Bond, and it's like, I think they forget this is supposed to be the James Bond that could sexy his way
through anything. Yeah.
And it's like, you look at him and you go, I'm sure there are some people that do find him attractive. Sure, no problem. But it's like, it's not what you'd expect from what he's usually supposed to look like.
Right.
It felt like Daniel Craig was the rough street kid who had to learn how to be aristocratic because he didn't grow up in it, as opposed to Pierce, who was, I was born for this. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm always pulling the age card on here. But I remember seeing Pierce Brosnan in Remington Steele. And I remember the rumors of him, before Timothy Dalton became James Bond, about him coming. And while I respect all the James Bonds, each one has a different thing.
Right.
Yep. Pierce is my number one guy when it comes to James Bond. He is my favorite all time. He had really cool gadgets.
And he had Halle Berry.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, his women were there.
No, that movie did suck. I won't lie. The movie did suck, but he had Halle Berry.
One thing I felt that the Daniel Craig stuff did wrong was they kind of solidified his history. They went too much into his backstory.
Yes.
And they said James was from the Skyfall area, whatever it was.
Yep.
And I was happy with that whole James Bond being,
a mystery.
The shortstop for the New York Yankees. You know what I mean?
Right.
Anyone could have been James Bond.
Right.
The designation.
And I will say, I just watched Skyfall the other day because I think it's on now. I didn't like the decision to get rid of M, to switch M's. I was not a fan of that.
I liked her. Oh my God.
I love her.
He's
now it's, what I compare it to? Like, I'm gonna see Spiral at some point, and I'm hearing good things about it, but Jigsaw only sounds like one person to me.
Right.
So hearing him as someone else, sure, you obviously have to evolve, but I would have liked it if they went for another iconic voice, like make the new Jigsaw the voice of Tony. Just something else that's iconic that doesn't feel like a step back. So it's no disrespect to the new M, because I can't remember the actor's name.
Ralph Fiennes.
Ralph, yes.
Phenomenal
actor. Phenomenal actor. You're right. I have no problem with him as an actor, but it's like going from the iconic voice of Judy to now going to him. It's just like, it is a step down.
See, but the fact that Judy crossed over between both James Bonds was the perfect way to say, oh my God, it was the designation. It wasn't always James as 007. It could have been anyone who got that James spot.
Yep.
And they killed it. They killed that concept.
Yep, I'm with you on that.
Well, I want to say.
Oh, go ahead, Juwaan.
Daniel Craig's my favorite James Bond. My favorite.
Okay.
Oh, I love those movies. Aside from, I mean, I didn't love Quantum of Solace, and that was probably my least favorite of all of them. But I actually enjoy everything they did with it. I do like that they grounded it, and I do like it. Eventually, they went back to his roots and kind of made him earn it. You know, I like that, all that. I was never, and I watched all the James Bond movies growing up, but
Okay.
sometimes it was just too cheesy for me. But even though I still enjoyed them, and that same thing happened with Pierce, and I loved Pierce, but I mean, it started great, and then it kind of got boring, and then it just got too fucking out there. And then I think for me, Daniel Craig was the most balanced and more. I didn't need it to be as cheesy as it usually gets, but yeah, it became my favorite.
But I bet you played GoldenEye like a motherfucker, didn't you? You didn't play Daniel Craig GoldenEye, did you?
Wait, I will say this, Jaydee. I did play Daniel Craig's James Bond game. It was short as shit.
I didn't know he had one.
Enjoyable. Yeah, he does have a video game. It was enjoyable. No, Joe, I think he's done a good job. To me, it's just you know the feeling, Joel, someone has to where it's like they grew up with Michael Keaton.
I grew up with him too.
So it's no. Hear me out. You know how like someone grew up with Michael Keaton's Batman, and it's legit all they see as Batman, right? Like they just can't get over the icon of what Michael Keaton was as Batman. To me, I think my thing of Pierce is how I got the GoldenEye game. Pierce is literally all I had. Because remember, Daniel Craig's James Bond is over a decade from where Pierce had stopped being James Bond. So it's a long gap before you had more James Bond movies.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, it was a long time. Because I think Casino Royale was 06. So it was a long time.
506. Casino Royale to me is one of my favorite movies. That movie is so good to me.
It's a good flick.
Right. I mean,
Jeffrey Wright as Felix was
awesome. It definitely showed me that I'm not built for torture, because whatever you're asking me, I give up. Once you tell me you're taking something to my balls, I'll tell you everything.
You're gonna come to an age where you don't need them, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I tell you what, at 27, I would hope that I do need them. So you bursting them with whatever the hell that was, no, no thank you.
That looks he was also in the best shape of all the James Bonds too. He looked like he actually.
He was.
Well,
but he got punked out by Angelina Jolie in Tomb Raider, so he was dead for me.
For people that remember in it.
I think it was built to where they were supposed to be more so suave and I'm thinking like Daniel Craig was built that way because he was supposed to be drastically different than what the other James Bonds look like.
He's not as classically beautiful. He wasn't dark hair. He was blonde.
Right.
That's crazy because I
that
like.
That didn't matter to me. Right.
I know, but there are people that really don't like that. Like they like the traditional black hair, brown eyes. But this man is blonde and blue and not as classically beautiful. As you can tell, he's a little more rugged and not classically attractive. We all said it, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, physically he was, but like his face, he's just not facially as attractive.
Right.
Right. And it'll probably go back to that, at some point where he'll be the classic James Bond. I just thought he stood out and he wasn't as classically beautiful, but that guy's gonna get ass.
Everybody's thinking that, but I felt Daniel Craig paid more homage to Sean Connery as James Bond.
Yeah,
Sean Connery was rugged. Yeah.
Yes, he was. You're right.
I do wish the movies did try to do more of the gadgets and stuff. Like you see it
sprinkled
in. You see
right. Towards the end, it's kind of it doesn't go all the way there, but it goes.
Right. But to me, the gadgets are as essential as Batman being a fucking detective in his respective
and
movies.
Q, right?
It's needed.
And John Cleese as Q was perfect cast.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So to go back, and this is all a part of it because Lucky Number 11 is very much of your somewhat spy assassin kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
Venture off. But Lucky Number 11 I thought was very well done. Again, it's one of those movies that when you watch in theaters, you don't see it coming when they hit you with the twist at the end. but I kind of feel like when you watch it like on Hulu now, like if you watch it for the first time, for some reason when you watch it at home, it seems like it goes by a lot slower. So like you can see a lot of different things where you're like, oh, I can kind of piece that. In a movie, it feels like it goes so much faster. But it was very well done. I did not see the twist at the end coming. Morgan Freeman. First of all, can I just say this, Pete and JD, you two being resident New Yorkers, how impressed were you guys with Ben Kingsley's New York impression?
Oh, it was great.
Definitely one of the best I've heard for somebody who's not from the neighborhood.
Right. When he started,
dude,
when
and
he
he-
was
and
talking,
he's-
I was just like, okay.
And if you want to get specific, his Hasidic Jewish character was more localized to Pete's part of Brooklyn than to my part of Brooklyn.
Look at that.
Look at that.
They narrowed it all the way down.
Right, right. No, but I did love the movie. Really, really, really good. I tell you what, I know I say this all the time. I'm sorry. I don't understand how Hollywood allowed Josh Hartnett to slip out of their hands, and then they gave Hollywood to fucking Sam Worthington. I'll never understand that. I swear to God, I'll never understand it. I'll never get it. Josh was amazing. He was amazing at the beginning of Sin City. I still to this day have no idea why we saw nothing else of his character in that entire movie.
He was the doctor, right?
No, he was legit the suave guy at the beginning who killed the the blonde.
Yeah, he was the doctor. Because he showed up at the end to kill the girl, Alexis Bledel, didn't he?
You don't see that character again. Unless I'm completely forgetting Sin City. I don't recall seeing it.
It's been a while. I don't remember.
I have to rewatch. It's definitely one of my favorites. I won't mind. Again, talking about prime Bruce Willis. So yeah, that's a movie I won't mind going through again. So I'll gladly do that to see if he did pop up again. But he was for the longest my Oliver Queen.
Really?
He's aged out of it, but for the longest he was my Oliver Queen. It was just something always about Josh. That's clearly my man crush, as you guys can hear. But anyway, Pete, I'm gonna go over to you. What's one of your favorite underrated movies?
So I had an immediate answer to this, but then I thought, like, given the state of the world that we live in now, it's become less underrated as more and more people are relating it to how the media, I won't say controls the world, but manipulates it. And you probably know where I'm going with this one, but They Live for a long time was one of the most underrated movies that only a few people had seen. And this is the one with Roddy Piper when he's got the sunglasses that enable him to see what like the aliens are doing, and like everything, all of the advertising just says obey and consume, buy this and that. And when he sees the old lady in the bodega and she's like, I've got one that can see, like it's just such a creepy feeling, like to realize that you're being taken over by,
oh my God, it's getting me.
It's a great movie. So good.
Yep. Oh.
And it's so relatable in this day and age, like I don't trust a goddamn thing the media puts forth to me. I don't care what side of the political coin you fall on. Everybody's a liar. Everybody.
100%.
Yep. But for one that's truly overrated that I usually ask people, hey, have you seen this? And I usually get a no, is Christopher Walken's The Prophecy from 1995.
Oh my God.
Dude, this is such a good flick. Yeah. Oh man. Ooh, you wonder how you got that little dimple on your lip? It's because when you were a baby before you were born, I said, shh. Ooh.
I told you the secret.
So, I'm really into theology. Woo! I'm not a religious person, but I love reading about the stories of religion and like what goes on kind of behind the scenes of the Bible. Viggo Mortensen is ridiculously frightening as the devil. Like he's got
no makeup.
Nothing at all. It's just him being weird.
You've never seen it. Please.
Christopher Walken plays Gabriel, the angel of death, basically. Blow the trumpet and oh man, it's insane. He's so good because he's so Christopher Walken, but he turns that crazy comedy into just crazy evil. Mm-hmm. And then, like Jay said, I mean, when Casey Jones, actually, dude who played Casey Jones, is the detective. Yeah. And he's like praying for guidance from God, because he was going to be a priest, and then he was given a vision of the second war in heaven. There is the war in heaven in the Bible, obviously, when the fall of Lucifer happened. Right. So now there's another one going on, and it's at a stalemate. He was given a vision of this. He's like, I can't do this. So he runs, becomes a cop or whatever, and he's guidance. And all of a sudden, Viggo Mortensen's there, and he says, his name is Tommy in the movie. He's like, oh, little Tommy Daggett, how I loved listening to your prayers at night. And then you jump into bed, so afraid that I was under there. And I was. And like, oh God, he just says that shit, and you're like, oh, that's fucking creepy as fuck. And he's sitting there the whole time plucking rose petals off the flower, and then when he's done, he eats it like a damn cereal snack.
Put it in the group chat.
I will.
It's out this weekend.
Oh my God, you've never. I think it came out the year you were born.
95. It came out.
Oh,
1995.
That was 2.
Yeah.
Oh, so fucking good.
Yeah.
Ignore most of the sequels. They're terrible, but the first one's amazing.
Speaking of underrated, Viggo is very much underrated. What was that? God, it was that Russian movie.
History of Violence.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the most eye-covering scenes ever.
That man has a way with delivering lines.
Yes,
he does.
Yes. Based on a comic book.
Was it? I didn't know that.
Yes, sir.
Shit.
Oh,
shit. I
shit.
could never read that comic book.
Dude, there's a lot of
one
movies
scene made
based
me
on
go,
comic books. Men in Black was a comic book.
That I knew, but I didn't know it at the time.
Comic book.
No, well, it was originally a Malibu comic book. So it's a Marvel comic book.
But Marvel bought Malibu.
Marvel bought Malibu, right. Yeah. Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks.
Did not know that.
That was a comic book. That I didn't know.
History of Violence comic book.
Yeah, I've seen that.
There's a ton of flicks out there that were comic books, dude.
I don't even want to spoil like the greatest line in History of Violence for anybody that hasn't seen it, like whoever's watching it. But oh man, that's so worth your 2 hours. And Ed Harris, not for nothing, is just one of the greatest villains. The Rock. The Rock is not an underrated film, but it's an amazing movie. And Ed Harris is just such a you feel for him, like you get it.
Yeah, I got the DVD of History of Violence. If anybody cannot find it, let me know.
Got it.
Yeah, I can't ever go back and rewatch that movie. My one watch was good enough.
Yeah, I've only seen that once too.
Yeah, just
really.
I do one. That's it. I'm good. It's always something about, to me, violence. I always say when I watch Saw, I could look at it and like separate it and go like, all right, well, this is very much like over exaggerated. It's the very realistic, like Sopranos, when they put the dude's head down and he curb stomped. It's the realism of it that you just go, oh, I feel that. Like American History X.
American History X.
Feel it. And it's that realism that makes you go, oh, cringe.
I didn't know about the curb stomp until American History X, and he was like, put your mouth on the curb. Like, what is he going to do? Oh my God, what did he just do?
I can hear the teeth crunching in my head.
Yes. Oh, blah. Anyway.
That's why, like, eye gouge scenes in fight scenes, like I always do this. Like,
it's so painful.
I can't
because it's the realism of it. Like, you can see that happening before someone putting you in a contraption. Like,
I threatened to do that to people.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, ugh, can't do it. I don't even know where to go. Anyway,
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna go to you. Trying to keep my dinner. Anyway, I'm gonna go to you, Jaydee. What movie is underrated?
One of the greatest movies of all time. Get ready to hear it. Buddy cop flick, starring both Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell, Tango Cash.
Yes. So good.
Yeah. I would say people
Terry Hatcher
sleep on that for sure.
Super Terry Hatcher. Prime Terry Hatcher. Okay. And a little side note for those who do not know, during that time, Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger had a lot of heat with each other.
I would assume so. It was between the two.
They were always trying to one up each other.
Right.
So one of the main villains, when they were in the prison, his nickname was Conan. And the actor was identified by his chin. Right? He had the chin like Sergeant Slaughter, like China. It's part of oh my god, acromegalia, right? Unfortunately,
Cro-Magnon.
yes, yes. So unfortunately, the actor passed away some time ago, but he was nicknamed Conan because Sylvester Stallone just had it out for Arnold so bad he felt that was the only place he can like stick it to him, and that's why he killed Conan in the movie.
That's,
Interesting.
That's hilarious. But no, that movie is definitely slept on, and it's the one movie I am glad. And I know as soon as I say this, the world will find a way to spin it on me. But it's the one movie we should really be thankful we've not heard anybody trying to recreate that.
You just put it out there in the world. You just made it real.
I just made it real.
Yeah, man. At least give me a sequel for it. You know what I mean?
You'd want a sequel now?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's the same thing I feel about them bringing back Lethal Weapon. Same thing I felt about bringing back Bad Boys. It's just at some point, it's like you can just allow these legacies to just rest. They all rested they've
mined everything fucking else. Mind that one.
Word.
Yeah.
Why not?
All right. And you know what?
Sticker Martin Lawrence.
We mentioned Bad Boys 3 did not work. But we mentioned, who was in their prime. And you know what? Kurt Russell was in his prime in that flick.
There. Yeah. That's why I said doing it now, it's kind of just like Kurt Russell's still on his game, 100%. That's not even to be discussed.
Hey, he's rocking them Fast and the Furious movies.
He's still on his game. He's still on his game, but it's just, I don't know. I mean, I always say, and they said it was the reason why they brought back Bad Boys, the reason why they're bringing back Lethal Weapon. It's the right story. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like where you left it was so good. Bad Boys 2 to me was iconic. You didn't need to come back. Like, there wasn't more to that story I needed. The way you ended it very much felt like, all right, we're done. So thinking about bringing
it was the money grab. That's all it was.
Oh, for sure. And it worked. It made a shit ton of money, so it worked.
I just have to say, me and my boy Tom are like quietly rehearsing the scene from when the dude comes to pick up Martin Lawrence's daughter.
I did that.
Yeah.
Did you really? Oh, yes.
With my goddaughter, my best friend, I was in his house in Florida, and we went word for word. Oh,
that's great.
God.
Joel, you have to promise me we can do that in the future. You have to promise.
Sure. Well, look, Bad Boy is one of my favorite cop series ever. Like, so.
But Joel, you have to bring your sword out. We don't have.
I don't have a gun, so I'll bring out my sword.
You said sword. Okay, so the kid stayed in the house for a little bit, and we were like, "You think you're a man? You think you're a roommate? You think you could take one of these?" And we took out my best friend ran a wrestling promotion in Jersey for a little while. Nice. So he had some of the old wrestling weapons, and one of those was a kendo stick. So we go out in the backyard and we start to beat the hell out of each other with kendo sticks. And we go to the kid, "You think you're man enough to take a shot? Think you can take a shot?"
You know what's funny? I always think like we saw clearly how much he was scaring this Reggie kid, right? Yes. But I always say the line that sold it more than pointing the gun, more than anything, was when he leans in and he goes, "Have you ever made love to a man?" Want to? And like, I think that is the line that scarred Reggie because it's like, whoa, hold on, what?
No, because he married her in the third one.
What? No, yeah. I think if you had asked him in that moment, what out of everything scared him, it was that, because Will seemed so genuine in that question. You ever made love to a man? No. You want to? What? No, I don't want to. So no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that was so iconic. It was just iconic. You could have 100% let it rest right there. I mean, hell, even the I got shot in the ass. You did get shot in the ass. Like, who shot you in the ass? You did. I was doing a lot of shooting. I shot you in the ass.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I give an honorable mention?
For sure.
The original Running Scared with Gregory Hines and...
You didn't like Paul Walker's?
No.
I like Paul Walker. That also had one of the most cringy scenes, putting his face down and hitting the puck. Ooh,
Yeah.
oof, blah, 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 blah.
And oh my God, why can't I forget? I just blanked on his fucking name. Have fun storming the castle.
Billy Crystal.
Billy Crystal. Where there were two cops in Chicago, and they had one of the best lines in that I use to this day. And whatchamacallit, oh my God, the guy with the fucking nose from Tom Cruise's Risky Business movie. What's his name? Joey Pants, Joe Pantoliano.
Joe Pantalone, yeah.
Right? So, whatchamacallit, where he's driving at them to try to kill them, and they both shoot at him, and he swerves and he runs into like a fire hydrant or something. They're like, Gregory Hines says, "What were you doing?" He goes, "What do you mean, what am I doing? All 6 of my shots hit the windshield. Where were you?" Please, if you get a chance, another buddy cop movie, Gregory Hines, Billy Crystal, Jimmy Smits, Joey Pants, Running Scared. Please, please, please. One of my favorite movies.
I got to make sure I check it out.
Yeah, I don't know that one. I have to watch that.
Yeah, I only saw the Paul Walker.
I didn't even know there was a remake. I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Yeah,
but it wasn't a remake. It was just they just used the title.
Oh, they just used the title. Oh, okay, cool. Joel, I'm gonna pass it over to you, man. What underrated movie are you throwing in?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Like, I mean, underrated. Well, what do you consider underrated, right? Like,
underrated, just based off of a movie that you thought was really good, that literally gets no conversation. Like, it's never discussed ever.
Got it. And it's probably not discussed because it's kind of old at this point. But I remember as a kid, I was like, I think 10 or 11 years old when it came out. And I wasn't used to watching like drama kind of movies, right? So this is the first time I watched this, and it was with Ed Norton, Primal Fear.
Oh,
okay.
That movie shocked me because I never. That was like the first time I got surprised during a movie. I was like, because the whole movie takes you one way, and then at the end you're like, oh, there's a without spoiling it, there's a twist, and you're like, holy shit, that was like one of the biggest twists.
Yeah,
I think it's the first twist I've ever experienced during a movie was that movie, and that was like, I don't hear people talking about it enough. I thought the acting was phenomenal by Ed Norton, and of course,
and he was young in that flick.
He was young. He was well, I think he was playing a teenager. He might be a little bit older, but and it's basically about this kid that gets accused of murdering, I think, a cardinal or some shit, but he kind of plays it like he's slow and he stutters, and and then it's just, you gotta watch it because I don't want to spoil, like, for whoever hasn't seen it. I know it's been fucking 20 plus years at this point, but it's such a good twist at the end of it. But that movie always sticks with me because that's one of the first times I ever was like shocked. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, no, that you just defined a prime underrated movie. I even think, Joel, you hit a twofer. I think Edward Norton is very underrated as an actor. I think because he's not always in mainstream movies today.
Right.
A lot of people forget and sleep on what this man has done for movies. That actually leads us into our next topic, Joel, which is perfect. Best cop movies. I have 3 here, and one of them is an Edward Norton movie. And that is a movie that I could have easily put in underrated, and that's Pride and Glory. Edward Norton and God, I just completely forgot. He's Penguin in Matt Reeves' Batman.
Colin Farrell?
Colin Farrell, yes.
Glory.
Yeah, Pride and Glory. They're 2 cops. And I really can't tell you anything else, or it kind of spoils the whole idea of the whole premise of the movie. But man, does Edward Norton and Colin put on a show in that movie. 2 cops in New York. I think it's New York. Yeah, I think it's New York. It's like all the good cop movies are in New York.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what movie I'm talking about?
That was the one in Washington Heights.
Yes.
With the kid from Mr. Carter's basketball movie, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. that he
I
was a
think
drug
so.
dealer. I
Yeah.
know two of the. Oh my god, dude! That whole Washington Heights. That was the neighborhood I worked at.
Really?
You know, so yeah, from the the train stop of the one train where they threw the kid under the fence to the bar fight scene between the two brothers at it was Liffey 2 on 213th Street and Broadway, and then the kind of like the penultimate finale when it was underneath the train tracks on the one train.
Yep.
That
Yep.
was the block right behind the bar. So yes, took me a little while to remember that flick. Sorry.
No. I think it was one of the better cop movies, because they did such a good job with that movie, and those two working off of each other was so well done, so well done. The second movie I want to put up for cop movies is We Own the Night.
Nice.
Wahlberg, and I always mispronounce Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin.
Eva Mendes. First of all, the opening scene.
Oh, Eva.
Mhm.
Woo! Just see it for that. No,
Yeah.
but in all seriousness, that is such a good movie with a great twist. Even that scene, and this isn't spoiling it, even that scene for you guys who have seen the movie, where he jumps out the window and lands on the fence. Again, the realism of you feel that. But to me, We Own the Night, if I was teaching an acting class, that's one of the movies I'd put on and say, soak everything you can from this.
Okay.
It's just great acting from top to bottom. Very, very, very good movie. Loved it. You got pretty much the premise for anyone who's curious. It's two brothers on opposite sides of the law. You have Mark Wahlberg, who's the golden boy, who's the cop who takes after their dad, and you have Phoenix, who's a nightclub owner, who does dabble in drugs. Very, very, very much dabbles in drugs. And you have this idea of two guys living two separate lives, and they did a great job. There's so many shocking scenes in there, twists and turns. Jaydee, I'll say, and again, this isn't spoiling it for anyone who wants to go actually see it. The scene, Jaydee, where he's talking to his friend in the club, and he goes, "I never told you that," and his friend goes, "No, I'm sure you did," and he goes, "No, I didn't." Like, you just feel that in that moment, and it's just like, oh no, man.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, that movie was really good. So that's my second one, and then my last one before I pass it on to you, Jaydee, is I'm going, and it was tough because I wanted to go a different route. I'm not even going to do honorable mentions. I don't want to take up too much time, but I'm going Brooklyn's Finest. Brooklyn's Finest was so damn.
That was with the three of them.
That was with Don Cheadle, Richard Gere, Wesley Snipes, and Ethan Hawke. It was so well done, and to see how it all plays out. Movies don't really do that, and I think Antoine Fuqua directed that movie, which I didn't know for the longest time, and I wish I could give him more credit. But it's such a good movie, and the way that movie ended, they don't end movies like that today. They just don't. And that's all I can say about that. But very well done movie. Those are my three cop movies: We Own the Night, Brooklyn's Finest, and Pride and Glory. Jaydee, you do not have to give three. I just couldn't settle on one. That's the only reason I did it.
Okay.
Your
I will say, notice, see now the New York in me is coming out here, right? And notice how all three of those movies that you selected, my good friend, were all based in New York, not one based in Jersey. Because they don't do cop movies in Jersey.
Throwing shots at New Jersey, Jaydee?
I ain't throw the shots, bro.
Whoa.
I didn't throw the shots. You threw the shots because you laid it out. These are my choices. I'm just saying.
It was a compliment, though. It was saying how.
And I thank you.
And then you
reinforcing. I am reinforcing your compliment and saying how you are on the wrong side of the river, my friend. Okay.
Can't help where you're born. Man. Can't help where you're born.
All right.
What kind of movies you got?
Okay. You threw the gauntlet down and you said 3 cop movies.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to start off with one. It's a little tacky and it could be a little questionable because it's not really a cop movie per se, but it is the lead of a cop, and that is with Ice-T and New Jack City.
Okay.
Good flick.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that came out in my time where it was like that was the movie everybody wanted to see when they were in high school, and that was that hot summer flick, and had had a soundtrack that was well received by a lot of people at that time. So New Jack City, it's up there. You can't say cop movie in New York without saying The French Connection. You really can't.
Okay.
And it's an
Go
old
on.
flick, and it's scary. Where even though the scenery is off, Gene Hackman's performance as this is going to sound like a stretch, but Gene Hackman's performance as Popeye Doyle, who takes his inspiration from Ahab, who was chasing his white whale, and the white whale being the drug traffickers coming over from France and using the cars and the molding to store their drugs. The French Connection is a great cop flick. And then last but not least, it's another period piece, but it was my jam. It was my jam, and it had a Superman element because one of the cops wore a Superman t-shirt, although it was a black shirt with a silver Superman shield on it, but he was the actor of the time. And it was Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone taking on Rutger Hauer in Nighthawks.
Wow.
Nice. Good call.
Absolutely.
All right. Those are my three cop flicks. I mean, Rutger Hauer, I saw him in Nighthawks before I really saw, oh my God. No, not Running Man. Oh my God. Indiana Jones. What's his name? Going after the replicants.
Harrison Ford. Oh,
Yes.
that was Rutger
That
Hauer.
movie.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer, Harrison Ford. What's
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Jesus Christ.
I don't know.
Right,
Yeah, Rutger
so
Hauer is an amazing villain. Is so
Right.
good.
Right. The
Yeah,
bald woman from the first Star Trek movie, the Indian woman, I forgot her name, but she was Rutger Hauer's love interest in it, and they were terrorists, and just doing the thing over the cable on Roosevelt Field, Jesus Christ,
Roosevelt Island, yeah.
the tram to Roosevelt Island,
By the way, just crazy ass underrated movie, Rutger Hauer, Hobo with a Shotgun. If you've never seen it,
Yeah.
see it.
Lobo with a shotgun.
So good.
Yeah.
Such a B movie, but so good.
Yeah.
And I will say, Jaydee, New Jack City definitely counts as a cop.
New Jack City, I forgot about that, man.
There is a movie I had as an honorable mention that I didn't